one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We'll start out with the financials from April 30th.
Okay, financials from April 30th include a revenue certification for the Auditor's Mortgage Revenue Bond Fund. This was an increase of $550 in the fund. Money is transferred from the Water Resources General Fund to the Burton Lake Sewer Debt Retirement Fund, so it was a fairly minor tweak. The other, we had a cash transfer out of the general fund for 2014 funding to the Transit Department. We typically transfer from the general fund the money that's equivalent to what they pay in cost allocation. So in this case, it was $53,045. And a payroll advance for the pretrial release fund to be repaid by the end of this year in the amount of $1,500. Okay, so you don't have to do anything with that, that's just...
Okay.
There it is.
Did you want to also cover number 2, Dave?
I will. Financials that were approved on May 6th. There was an appropriation transfer from the contingency account to return appropriations to the Board of Elections for regional meeting reimbursements deposited in the general fund. Cash transfers into the general fund for second quarter cost allocation billed to the Sheriff's 911 Program Fund, and reimbursement of prosecutors' 4D expenses from the Department of Job and Family Services. Encumbrances include a purchase order for the purchase of the property for the Thompson Wastewater Treatment Plant for Department of Water Resources in the amount of $45,000. Purchase orders for Bob Ross Buick for the state bid purchase of 2 replacement GMC Sierra 1500 pickup trucks for the Department of Water Resources in the amount of $26,266.90 each. Travel requests for the Department of Job and Family Services and the prosecutors and recorders offices. Vouchers include a payment to Goschalk Building Company for pay request number 7 for the Board of DD's ICF DD downsizing project, the amount of $84,334, and a payment to Southeastern Equipment for the purchase of an Alamo flail mower for the engineer's office in the amount of $32,280.
There it is.
There it is. There you have it.
I'm surprised they're using flail mortars. All those little
It'll
things you
work.
gotta sharpen, all
Yeah.
got like little tabs.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
And
surprised
there's
at
like
the price.
hundreds of them, and, you know?
I'm surprised at the price. Is there a
Substantial flail mower.
Is there a tractor attached to that flail mower?
Let's hope!
I don't know.
I mean, $32,000 for the flail
I mean,
mower.
there's all those little, they're about this big, and there's like hundreds of them, and you gotta take each one off and sharpen it, you know?
Maybe they're self-sharp.
But they cut lawn beautifully. My husband
No.
got rid of it
It's
immediately.
not for 13,000. They
Yeah.
sharpened itself.
I don't know, I wouldn't use a flail mower.
Oh, hey,
Okay.
I mean, it's nice,
do
but
we need to prove that?
No,
No,
no, you're
we're
just,
we're good to go
just
there?
reporting.
just
Okay.
reporting.
So number 3, we're going to waive the notice for the hearing. We need a motion on that.
Motion to waive the notice on the.
Oh,
reading
I'll
of
make
the
a
notice.
motion to waive the hearing of the,
Reading of the notice.
the notice for the,
Second?
Commissioner Sneed?
I would say aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved. And so what we're going to do is number 3 is going to be the Commissioner's Office will hold a public hearing at 10:05 for the proposed issuance by the Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority for a variable rate demand revenue tax exempt loan, and it's the National Jewish Federation Bond Program Series I-2. And if you guys want to come up, you're welcome. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Bob Livis from Squire Sanders, and
That's nice.
yes, Cam Hanover sends her regards. And this is Mark Weiss, who's the CFO of Montefiore Housing Corporation. And without any background, someone looks at this and says, "Why are the commissioners holding a hearing relating to something going on in Colorado?" Actually, the project in question is a very local project, and Mark can provide more details on the project if you like. But Montefiore Housing Corporation, which has successfully operated the Wiles project here in Geauga County for a number of years, has realized that there's an increased demand for memory care units. So they are looking to expand the facility to add memory care units. The most cost-effective way for Montefiore to finance a project like this is through the issuance of tax-exempt bonds, similar to bonds that the county issues for its various projects. You mentioned that there's money that came in for the mortgage revenue, for the utility revenue bonds. The reason why this mentions the Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority is that Montefiore is an organization that has an affiliation with the Jewish Federation of Cleveland, the Jewish Community Federation of Cleveland. And the Jewish Community Federation of Cleveland is a member of the National Jewish Federation. So it's organizations similar to if you had a National Lutheran or Catholic or other national organization. And the National Jewish Federation established a number of years ago a program to have bonds issued for the benefit of any member agency nationally through a centralized program. And the bonds are issued by an authority in Colorado, the Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority. And they issue bonds for Federation projects on a national basis. And in fact, the Wilds was financed through this same program. As you know, when the county issues its bonds, you get a lower rate of interest because the interest is tax exempt. Tax exempt interest is something that flows from the Internal Revenue Code, which is federal statute. One of the things that the Internal Revenue Code requires for all tax exempt bond issues is that the community in which the project is located, the host community, even if it's not issuing the bonds, should hold a public hearing to determine and make sure that anybody from the public who has an interest in the project has their voice heard, and that the host community is comfortable with the project going forward, even if the bonds are being issued by another entity, which is the case here. So unlike other projects that the county has been involved in, whether it be Franklin Circle or other projects, where the so-called conduit bonds, where the county issues the bonds, you don't have to repay them. Here, the county isn't even issuing the bonds. So there won't be any documents presented for you to sign. The county's name is not on the bonds. This hearing and the resolution that is agenda item number 4 are solely for the purpose of satisfying this federal tax law requirement. And that large stack of documents that you all have seen on other conduit bond issues in the past, those will all be signed by the Colorado Authority, who's the actual issuer of the bonds.
I remember when you first came to the county, I think it was Gabby Hayes. Does she still have?
She has a loose affiliation to the
Yeah,
organization.
but she used to be, because I remember when you first opened that up, that was a real help for that community.
Sure.
That time.
And,
I
and
remember that.
pardon me for interrupting, but interestingly, when Montefiore first looked at issuing bonds to construct the Wilds, as we went back, I think in 08.
08 is when I remember, sure.
Actually, we
Actually, a little earlier.
Or 02, I'm sorry, I'm getting my deals
Yeah,
mixed up.
yeah.
Right, the bonds were issued in 2000.
Right,
2000, yeah.
98, back in 1998,
Right,
99.
it really goes back.
The county was,
Geauga County.
Geauga County was first approached to be the issuer of the bonds. And then the project, then they ultimately decided, the National Federation Program and Montefiore
Well,
got
actually,
together.
in 2000, the bonds were issued by Geauga County.
Yes.
And 4 years ago, in 2010, they were issued then through the Colorado Educational and Cultural Authority.
Yes, they were refinanced, right, I'm sorry, yes, thank you for,
But I do remember that earlier time because I'm speaking with Gabby Hayes about it. She was quite a promoter for that organization. So I thought that was,
I have a question, just in the simplest terms. We do this, there's no financial obligation from the county.
correct.
We are not, the county is not on the hook for anything if something malfunctions in the program. That's correct, right?
Yes, absolutely. And even, so, and if we talk about the bond issue that took place back in 2000, when the county did issue the bonds, the obligation to repay the bonds would have been Montefiore's, but the bonds would still have Geauga County's name on them. Here, your name isn't even on the bonds. Again, but for this federal tax law requirement that the host community hold the public hearing, and so if there are any members of the public here who wish to speak about the project, they should be heard. But, you know, that is what brings us here today. But it's the Colorado issuer's name is on top.
Thank you.
Are there any questions or any comments? Okay, so we'll close this meeting off at 10:12 a.m. Okay, so number 4 is going to be the Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 14-069 approving the issuance of a variable rate demand revenue tax exempt loan by the Colorado Educational and Cultural Facilities Authority.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweeney?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion stands approved.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
for coming in.
For coming in.
Good to see you here. Good luck to you.
Just see.
Yes. It's just like a normal. Just three. There was five, they told me that I only needed three.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Patty for the Airport Authority, how are you?
We finally have some spring, finally have some flying weather. I'm here today to request permission from you to apply for a grant with ODOT. Normally, the airport will apply for our grants through FAA, who has a 10% match. ODOT also has a 10% match, but they do not cover some of the engineering costs. So we try to stay away from most of the ODOT grants. We did get one for this year. And I would say this is only about a 50-50 chance that we would even get this grant, because they did grant us one for this year, and it's not real likely that they're going to grant us another one back to back. However, this is significant to us because the area that we are looking to pave, which is the taxiways right by the old T hangars that we have, is something that is not federally eligible for an FAA grant. So we have asked ODOT to step in and help us out with that paving. So our request here is basically to get the amount of $118,000 plus some engineering fees from the Ohio Department of Transportation. $106,200 would be ODOT's share. The county's share would be the 10% match of $11,800 plus the engineering, which is roughly about $15,000. And that's what we want to do this time. And again, we wouldn't use ODOT for this type of funding if we could have eligibility from FAA, but these are not eligible. They are not eligible because in our master plan, these hangars will no longer exist down the road. Down the road is a long way down the road for us because we rely on the income from these 20 hangars to make our operational budgets. So it's gonna be a while before they come back, but FAA is not gonna fund anything around them.
So is there anybody that we can possibly make calls to try to assist to get them to give us some special attention? Because if not, we're gonna end up having to pay for this, right?
Well, actually, what we would try to do is put it off and apply another year. The pavement that was the worst of this area is being done this year. We did get a grant for that. What we're doing now is between the hangar buildings and on each side of it, and that pavement is cracking up and experiencing some fissures, but so far the airplane wheels can still go over them. The ones on the end, the cracks were so big that those airplane wheels were getting stuck and they were
Right.
having to push them, and so now that's getting taken care of. So if this didn't go through this year, our next course would be to try for next year, and it would be a little more likely since we didn't get one back to back. Now, there have been very few airports. I attended a conference here in Columbus a couple weeks ago, and there are very few airports that are actually applying for the ODOT funds because they don't wanna pay the engineering costs, they don't wanna pay the matches, they don't have the money to do that.
Hmm.
So we're in a pretty good position here as, you know, being able to do this, and because the amount is relatively small, there's a 50-50 chance we might get this one this year.
Okay.
So if this becomes reality, then our share is about 26.8, is that correct?
Your share is 26.8, correct? Mhm.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you staying aggressive on that. That's,
Always has.
You know, you have to keep it up, and like I said, it's not to the point where it's, if we didn't get it this year, we couldn't apply next year. But again, we have to stay on top of it, because there may be a time that ODOT doesn't have funds to give out, and we have to try to take advantage of it while we need it, and
yeah.
it might be available to us.
Well, you've always been on top of everything,
Trying,
as far as I remember.
trying.
Good job.
Been a pleasure
All right.
working
We
with you.
could read number 5 then.
The airport authority is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute a letter to the Ohio Department of Transportation, ODOT Office of Aviation, in the fiscal year 2015 Ohio Airport Grant Program Standard Assurances Appendix D for the reconstruction of 2 hangar taxiways at the Geauga County Airport in the amount of $118,000. $106,200 from ODOT, $11,800 county match, plus $15,000 for engineering.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Speed?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion approved. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you.
She would like to take this one.
Okay. Yep,
Oh.
we can do that.
She wants to take it with me?
Yeah, the little thing about mailing it in.
Yeah, actually, it was due to be postmarked the
We need a
first.
drive-through for the picture.
So you found it on the shelf 6 weeks
Drive-through
later.
session.
These are always a hurry up and wait item. Hurry up and
You hurry up and get it in, and then you wait.
Wait.
It's like the army.
It's hurry up and wait.
Hurry up, my dad used to always say that.
That's it. She wasn't wrong.
She gave me lots of copies.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Mm. Should get on to the medical thing. I didn't get it right.
Stickers
Oh,
are in them.
yeah.
Do you remember what order
Jessica's
that?
got a music therapy center. She's got a music
Yeah. Here's the bottom one.
I was gonna get there early, but I was thinking,
You got up early.
I'm all stayed out, except for the little ones.
Okay.
I did some new stickers, I'm not sticking to the
I think it was on regular.
I did.
Hi, Mike.
They wear out.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't have to sign it.
Yay!
All right.
You're on
Ralph
the
does the heavy lifting of those.
We'd be here till noon.
Well, you and
Thank
Doug
you.
Bowman got the same shirt, you must have gotten the memo, I mean,
Oh, yeah, what's up with that?
what, yeah, is this?
The uniform.
So Mike, tell us about the Yanish brothers.
Basically what happened was, there was a permit taken out for a reconstruction project, and another person handled, like a week later, the electrician come in to pull the electrical permit also. So there was actually 2 electrical permits pulled for the same job, so
Ah,
we just,
that's odd.
we're gonna refund the one
Sounds good.
since it was an error.
Okay, if we could read number 6 then.
The building department is requesting the board approve and refund the electrical permit base price paid to Geauga County by Yanish Brothers Construction Company as a result of the permit fee being paid by the electrical contractor in the amount of $64.44.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Speed?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Motion stands approved for the refunds. And then Mike, for number 7, for the inspector.
We did contracts for plans examiners back in March.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, one of my plans examiners got a serious medical condition right now, and he's unable to work. He tried to, but he can't. We have another gentleman out of South Russell that's certified to do plans exams that we'd like to hire in case he can't come back. And
Sure.
then if he can come back, we'll actually have a backup to the.
Yeah, that's a good
the other
idea.
two, so.
Excellent.
And the contract reads the same for this gentleman as it did for the other 2.
70 an hour.
Yes.
How many hours do they generally do an architectural review, or does it depend on the project?
Project, yeah.
Project
Some
base.
can be-
What is that mean? What it mean?
Dan's phone.
Some can be quite time consuming, but
Yeah.
others are not that bad.
Not that bad, so each one has its own.
Correct. You get
Yeah,
into
she
stuff like
asked us to call.
hospitals,
She said
nursing
she
homes,
thought there
there's
was
a lot to look at.
Oh, I bet.
Versus,
Like Judson,
a
when you were.
Subway or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, Subway, quick and dirty.
All right. If we could read number 7.
The building department is requesting the board approve and execute the licensed architect contract 2014 with James R. Geauga to perform architectural reviews for commercial and industrial structures at a rate of $70 per hour for the term May 8, 2014 through March 31st, 2015.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Motion stands approved. We wish the other individual there some help. Hope with his health issues there.
Complete recovery.
Yeah, let's hope all for the best, huh?
He's done good work.
Health as well.
Unfortunately, he retired last month
Ah,
from the regular job.
why does that happen? Right when they retire, it seems like.
Okay, so Mike, let's talk about Mr. Aaron Carr.
Yeah, we had 3 good prospects for the position of multi-certified inspector. I talked it over with my assistant and we hashed it out, and this gentleman came out on top. I mean, they were all 3 good candidates. This we feel is the best fit at this particular time.
Now, you need an additional person because the workload is picking up. And I think you
I think we should-
stated a number the other day, how many permits you've issued so far this year?
Well, we took in 12 permits just the other day, so.
Wow,
Okay.
that's great.
it's,
Good to hear.
The economy's looking good. I mean,
Okay.
holding my breath. I'm holding my breath.
Hold your breath, don't say too much.
And you're still down headcount wise
Yeah.
from where you were.
Oh, yeah, we're
5,
still
6 years
down.
ago.
We're still down a couple people from that, but this'll,
But the workload justifies the fact
Starting
that
to
we,
yes, sir.
Well, the other plus too is if we got Larry retire in a couple of years, somebody's not gonna be, just thrown in the fire to start.
That's what we're hoping to do right
Yeah.
there, because it's not only myself, but we have another
Yeah.
inspector who's gonna
Yeah,
bail out, so.
so it's good planning.
That this way,
Mm-hmm.
they'll be
Success-
ready to go and there's,
succession planning.
And with
Right.
the
If it works
adjustment,
out.
and the adjustment of rates that was done last year, the idea
Somebody
is
else is
this
stealing
department
more
should be
money.
self-sufficient as far as fees coming in, should cover most expenses of the department too.
Sounds good. If we could read number 8 then?
The building department is requesting the board approve hiring James Reinhardt to the position of multi-certified inspector number 1103 to be effective May 27, 2014, at a rate of $23.62 per hour. After the successful completion of a 180-day probationary period, the rate will increase to $24.87 per hour.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
thanks for the board's time.
Okay, Karen? Good morning.
Good morning. Before we start that, we should go over to the Health Festival or whatever they
Yes.
call that.
Oh, it's
over there.
great. Yeah, I
It's the
heard.
best one so far. It
Yeah.
really is good.
I heard the music therapy is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to eat breakfast before you go either. There's a lot of food over there.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Okay.
So we've got number 9 is Anna Javins for a new position there.
That's just summer help.
Okay,
So what she's gonna do is actually work, a couple weekends ago, weeks ago, I had a resignation for somebody that was a part-timer. So Anna will cover for the summer for that, and then I'll rehire another part-timer. I actually have 2 openings right now, but I'm gonna save the one and I'll use the summer one,
okay.
cheaper, until the end of the summer, and then I'll fill the second position again.
Okay. We could read number 9.
The county home is requesting the board approve hiring Anna Javins to the position of summer help number 0101 at a rate of $8.25 per hour to be effective May 13, 2014 through September 30, 2014 for 21 weeks, maximum 840 hours.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. And number 10, Karen, is resignation of Carolyn Kraus.
Yeah, it's a good thing though. Carrie, I shouldn't say that. Yeah, she's resigning. It makes it inconvenient, but she is working as an attendant and she went back to school and she's a nurse now. So she got a job as a nurse. So this is a good thing for her.
That's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
If we could read number 10.
The county home is requesting the board accept the resignation of Carolyn Kraus, full-time attendant, to be effective May 19th, 2014.
Okay, and then number 11 would be
I
to
would make that-
advertise for this position.
Right, it's a backfill.
Do I make a motion for 10?
Yep.
All right. Let's get that straight.
You're moving for 10?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, second?
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion approved. And number 11, Karen, then this is going to be for the advertisement for that position then?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And number 11, if we could read that.
The county home is requesting the board grant permission to advertise internally for a period of 5 days for the position of full-time attendant number 1504.
So moved.
Second?
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Aye, motion will stand approved. And number 12.
It's like dominoes down there, if you move somebody up, it's just like, it all
Well-
goes. This is just to fill the person that's gonna take the internal application.
It's always in a state of flux.
I know,
It really is, because it's a difficult position to
it is, and this is second
working
shift. It's,
with elderly.
people
Mhm.
don't wanna work second shift as much,
That's
so.
tough.
I don't get it. I did it for a long time. I liked it.
And sometimes you still do when people don't show up.
Yeah, but that's different. It used to be my real job.
Is there a shift premium in there?
No.
So do you have first, second, do you have a third?
Mhm.
Oh, that would be, I would think, the tough one.
But you know what? That's really stable. You either like
Is that-
that and can
I
adjust to it.
guess.
I haven't had an opening there for
You're
a
kind of
long
like awake in
time.
the dark and sleep in the light, right?
I couldn't do it, but the
So
people that are on there are very stable.
Well, that's good.
in the future, or just for conversation, would a shift premium be beneficial or not? I mean,
Mr. Years and years ago, there was a differential and it paid I don't know, maybe it was a quarter
I
more
was
for
gonna
second
say,
shift
when I
and-
worked in
and
it-
maybe
Yeah.
50 cents for a third. But in reality, the first shift, that's the backbreaker job. They
That's
work
the
way harder than
'Cause they're all
everybody
awake.
else.
They're all awake, right?
So we got rid of it,
Yeah.
because it
Yeah.
just wasn't fair to the first shifters that were working so hard. So if you want to entertain the idea,
I'm
I'm
just
okay
asking,
with
no,
it,
I'm not,
but
I'm
it
asking.
just got to the point where I felt guilty paying a differential for a lot less work
Well,
on that shift.
Not the workload
I
or
know.
but the fact that if you've got an opening and you can't fill it consistently, let's say a second
Right.
shift job, you either don't have that job opening, which is not an option.
Right, and I don't have enough
Or-
people to, work very long without somebody filling the position.
That's all.
Let's see what we get this time. And, if we don't, then I'll come back and talk to you. I'm willing to listen to, an idea like that.
Well, I'm not trying
Some-
to give away money, but if we need somebody to sit there and
You can
do
buy
the
fruit
job.
for the home or something instead.
Yeah.
Okay, if we could read number 12.
The county home is requesting the board grant permission to advertise for the position of a part-time attendant number 1504-1 for up to 29 hours per week. The position will remain posted until filled.
So moved.
Second,
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
aye.
Commissioner Spudler?
Motion stands approved. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. Here, I found these in my pockets. That's for Anna.
Go into confession.
I brought my lunch. I thought you guys were going to be a long time.
Oh, we're moving right along.
Morning, Matt.
Morning, morning.
How you doing?
Hello. Good. How are you?
Good, good. So you're getting appointed by the governor to
Give you a copy. Yes. This law came into effect last year. It's the commercial dog breeding, and it was really about care of the dogs. They actually wanted to get rid of selling and auctions and all that, which obviously we have a problem with because it would have affected some of our dog shelter adoptions, meaning we couldn't have taken them off our property and stuff. They created this advisory board to go over what puppy mills and retail The dog warden, there's actually 7 members. There's 2 veterinarians, there's the state veterinarian, there's also another veterinarian, and there's 6 other members, a humane society officer, a dog warden, a rescue club, a breeder, and a member of the public, and they're all appointed by the governor with the consent of the Senate. And the old dog warden actually is no longer a dog warden, so she had to resign her position. And then it was discussed for me to sit on this board. I think it's a great opportunity. We would they meet 4 times a year. So it would be going down to Columbus 4 times a year, which isn't bad. But it really is to make sure that it's a twofold for me. You know, one is the care of the animals. I mean, that is probably the biggest, highest thing is what an advisory board needs to do. But the second thing is the protection of people's rights to adopt out animals. And, you know, under these regulations, there's humane societies are under these regulations, pet stores, breeders. The biggest thing they focused on were the puppy mills, which we don't have any licensed in our county right now. You have to have 9 litters of puppies or 60 puppies that you sell in order to be this high volume puppy mill. That's really what they're going after. Holmes County, I believe, has 120 of them. It is Amish based, I hate to say it. Down in Holmes County, there is a dog auction. And it was actually coming up here about 6 years ago.
Yes, I remember that.
Into our Amish community and all that. Our Amish don't support it, but we obviously want to make sure that in the state that we do have a voice up there to at least acknowledge what we need to do here.
Now, being a member of this board, it clearly indicates there's no compensation, but I understand that if you have to go to Columbus, they will reimburse you for your actual unnecessary expenses, right?
Absolutely.
But it's not a compensation.
It is, there is no compensation other than, yes.
But other than when you go to Columbus, or if you have to go, that would make sense to me, yeah.
Yes, so the state does it. There's actually 4 people. We actually tried to push to have dog wardens regulate this, but unfortunately, when the law was created, they didn't believe that the dog warden should have, it's another, you know, I'll be on the board, so I don't want to talk too bad about it, but it should have been consolidation, but unfortunately, we created a whole new group that is gonna govern this, so hopefully I'll have a say in Columbus to see if we can actually get it back down into the county level and have it all be in locally, but.
Good job, Ben. Thanks. Okay, if we could read number 13.
The dog warden is requesting the board approve and accept the appointment of Matt Granito by Governor John R. Kasich to the Commissional Dog Breeding Advisory Board for a period of 3 years for the term ending March 12, 2017.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands
Good
approved.
luck.
Thank you very much.
Alright. Morning, Doug.
Good morning. First item on the list is for the Thompson Sewer project, and this is an expenditure around $25,500 that we spent prior to the agreement with USDA. So to be able to get reimbursed and get the grant money back for our department, we just have to modify and sign this form, and we'll be able to get reimbursed.
So get the money back.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So,
If we could read 14 then.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute Exhibit K of the EJCDC Amendment to Engineer Owner Agreement for the inclusion of funds expended by URS Corporation for preliminary engineering in the amount of $25,500 as approved by the board on April 28, 2009.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved.
and then the second one here is for hiring of summer help, and it's perfect timing. We have a maternity leave going to be happening in our department, so by hiring Megan, we'll be able to train her for 3 to 4 weeks, and then the 2 months while Jamie's absent. This will fit perfectly, so this is ideally perfect timing.
Good timing on Jamie's.
Yeah, exactly. She planned it that way, yeah.
I'm sure.
And Megan here, the Chardon resident, she's going to be her last year of college, so she's got some great credentials.
Okay, if we could read number 15.
The Department of Water Resources is requesting the board approve hiring Megan Vassalone to the position of summer help number 0101 at a rate of $8.25 per hour to be effective May 12, 2014 through September 30, 2014 for 21 weeks, a maximum of 840 hours.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Sure. Okay, Kelly, how are you? Good.
This one, the Ohio Department of Development, they're going electronic with all of our grant applications, all of our report filings and everything. They're trying to get away from all the paperwork and the mailing back and forth and everything. It's probably about time. I'm surprised they haven't done it sooner. So the form that needs to be signed today is giving our user information, like who has which role in applying for the grant or sending in the reports and that type of thing.
Read number 16.
The Office of Community and Economic Development is requesting the board approve and authorize the president of the board to execute the Ohio Development Services Agency Office of Community Development Program Security Role Assignment Form authorizing access to the Ocean Information System, which is used to apply for and maintain ODD programs and grants.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved. Thanks, Kelly.
Oh, you're gonna stay here, yeah, you're here for a while.
Okay.
Are you going to just do them all at once?
I think that would probably be the best way to do it.
And the following items are, our CIC 44th Annual Salute to Dinner is this evening. So these are the resolutions that the commissioners will be giving to the honorees this year.
That's great. Who's Marble?
Marble is our legacy company this year.
She's great.
Yeah.
They are wonderful. You know, her husband was in the Hungarian Revolution. He fought for that, and when he came over to this country, he worked 2-3 jobs around the clock. I mean, you gotta hear his story. And
Maybe
what
we
a
will
wonderful
tonight.
man.
Maybe
Tonight
that'll
he'll
be
tell
in-
that
yeah.
story.
Hopefully, yeah.
Because, you know, it's really a story of making good and coming to this country under really adverse conditions.
Yeah, that sounds good.
They're just wonderful.
Yeah, they are great.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-070 honoring Marvell Incorporated on being the Legacy Award winner for 2014 by the Community Improvement Corporation, CIC. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-071 honoring Great Lakes Growers for being named an outstanding Geauga County company for 2014 by the Community Improvement Corporation, CIC. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-072 honoring Troy Mill Wood Products for being named an outstanding Geauga County company for 2014 by the Community Improvement Corporation, CIC. The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-073 honoring Geauga Hardwood Quarry for being named an outstanding Geauga County company for 2014 by the Community Improvement Corporation, CIC.
I'll make those motions.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you this evening.
Thanks.
Don't forget the Bob.
Okay,
Oh,
Joe,
oh my goodness, I'm sorry. I didn't-
how are you?
Good, good. Sunshine.
Orders out a little bit out of the whack today, but
There you go.
there's a reason for it.
So what do you have, Joe, for
Oh,
number
yeah.
21?
First one I have here is number 21
Yeah.
is to approve and execute the price contract with Burton Scott for the replacement of Fowler's Mill Road Bridge. I'm sure that they've already signed the contract, it's ready for you guys.
Okay. We could read number 21.
The County Engineer's Office is requesting the board approve and execute the unit price contract with Burton Scott Contractors LLC for the replacement of the Fowler's Mill Road Bridge, structure number 108-0.18 in Munson Township in the amount of $190,725.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved.
So do you want to say anything
Well,
about this one, or?
Yeah, I mean, I can speak briefly on it. The Ohio severance tax is actually something that the legislature's been discussing at length about increasing it and so forth to make up for the gap in the funding that exists. And in essence, it's money that's a tax that's levied to the energy companies, whether it's natural gas or oil companies or so forth. But anyhow, apparently Belmont County sent Christine, the commissioners, a resolution asking for their support. I got it from Christine, so this is the first I'd seen of it, but I do know a little bit about it. In that they're asking that money just doesn't go to the state and gets spent on whatever, but it actually goes to the counties, including us, to repair the infrastructure that gets damaged as a result of the repetitive
How much,
loading.
how
and
big
so
is
forth.
that severance tax? What's the percentage
Well,
based on the total amount, or?
Well, they're fighting over it right now. It was 2.25%, I believe. I think they've agreed to 2.5, but the governor is not happy. I believe he wants 2.75. There was a article, and I'll leave this for the commissioners.
Sure.
Discussing that briefly. It's something that has existed in the past, but obviously with the oil wells now going in, the fracking, and the millions and millions of dollars at stake.
16 million, 72 million.
Oh, yeah, they even talk about, 470 million.
425 million income tax relief.
Yeah, it just goes on and on.
So-
But it's all projections. I
Yeah.
mean, it's no different than the well they drilled up here in
Sure.
Parkman.
Which-
They drilled the vertical and never did anything horizontal, so
So
it's
zip.
just sitting there.
Yeah.
And
I
of
thought they
course.
capped it, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we believe they will go horizontal, but they don't have to release what they found until they go horizontal, so I think it's kind of how the industry works. Don't let everybody know what the value of the well is or the property is worth.
Yeah.
But at any rate, I mean, in this case, our roads didn't get beat up too bad, but Parkman's roads really had, hundreds and hundreds of loaded semis running over them. And those roads are used to taking Amish traffic for the most
Yeah,
part.
buggies.
So what they were trying to do in this resolution, asked you to sign, was to make sure that the state doesn't just grab all that money and who knows where it ends up over in Columbus where there's none of these wells and the roads aren't getting beat up and the bridges aren't getting beat up, but that actually comes back to eastern Ohio where all these wells are getting drilled. And they didn't even ask for all of it. There's exceptions in here. They're asking for 75%, but then they don't make sure they're not taking any funding away from libraries and so forth like that. So they're just asking them to get part of it so we can fix what gets destroyed.
Yeah.
Do we reserve the right to, when you have load limit signs in bad weather and so on, is there a provision where we can put load limit signs on those back roads, or not really?
Well, you have to have a structural reason for it, and if they're hauling legal loads, for the most part, no, you cannot. If there's a bridge there that has a reduced load, you can. That law's been tested, and, you can't just label no through trucks, you can't do any of that stuff. They do have a right to be there. There are some
Utilities.
rumors in place, road use agreements. We had one when that one went in, they didn't necessarily follow it. They have certain haul routes that they're supposed to use. We spent a lot of time fighting with them and getting them to be where they're supposed to, and they weren't giving us notice, and it's difficult. I understand they're there to make a profit. I understand that's how business works, but we tried to partner with them, and it was pretty frustrating, so.
You almost have to park somebody with them 24/7 to make sure they comply.
We actually ended up doing that at one point, yeah.
I'm sure that wasn't cost effective.
Came out of us.
Right.
They didn't pay for it. In their agreement, they were supposed to do X, Y, Z to the road. They even brought their own engineer in to say what the road needed to sustain their hauling. According to the agreement, they had to do what their engineer said, and if we disagreed with it, then we get a third party. Well, we agreed with them. They still didn't do what their own engineer said. So I understand where these counties are going and what their concern is. You can have all the agreements in place, but when everybody pulls out, it's like anything, when the boom happens, everybody's going crazy and
Now,
money's everywhere, and then when they pull out, who's left with the mess?
Now, Carroll County, they put in roads, beautiful roads down there.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Oh, yeah, we
My
saw
wife
it
said-
firsthand.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're gonna take you to the ones that were successful, not the ones
Oh,
that
there's
weren't
probably a
successful.
whole bunch of the
Yeah,
back roads there.
Yeah, and certainly my
And then the water
meetings
gets-
down at CAO down in Columbus, I'd say the vast majority were not good
They weren't.
experiences like that.
Wow.
And there's multiple companies doing it, so it may be just depending on what company's doing it. But at any rate, what they're trying to do is just make sure that this money comes to where it belongs instead of going to fund something crazy that has nothing to do with what's going on. And certainly this is, I'm not an expert at this, and this was something that I just, Christie said, can you take a look at it? I said, absolutely, and I had a little bit of knowledge of it. But that's really the extent of what I know about it.
Thank you, Joe. We could go ahead and read number 22 then.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the Board approve and execute resolution number 14-074 of support for Ohio 7's tax to be returned to the counties impacted by shale development.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Reed?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spillier?
Aye, motion stands approved. Thank you so much, Joe. This one is regarding Munson.
Yeah, we're requested by the township trustees, which were requested by the property owner, Mr. Peterson, to vacate Sandstone Drive. It was never built, never existed on Y Road. There's even some debate whether it really got, it was never dedicated by the commissioners, but yet the plat was filed and accepted, so there's some confusion as to if it really is even a road, and they've never received any gas tax money for it or anything. And now the property owner wants to vacate it and just make it one normal parcel, and we agree it makes complete sense. There's no opposition that we've heard whatsoever, and this here, sets the
Yes.
Comment concerning this issue, the property has already been divided into sublots, and for sale signs are already there.
Are you
Paint and
talking,
paint.
are you talking about Sandstone or Sandhill?
Sandstone.
Okay.
I live there.
Okay, yeah, no, that's great. My understanding is that Todd Peterson actually bought all of them, and he's just gonna consolidate them, and it'd just be the one, yeah.
Well, there's two separate paint and paint signs, and there are markers, property line markers there for sublots.
Really? All frontage? Like,
They were going through
Mike
the
from my
process.
office did a lot of the research.
Yeah, it's my understanding that they were going through the process of vacating all the lots. Now, I personally didn't follow through. That's a process that you do through the auditor's office. You have to put them in the paper, I think, 14 consecutive days. Yeah, I think that's already been done, but I guess we would have to look at the tax map again to see if it was. But that was the first step, and again, it was my understanding that Mr. Peterson wants to build one house on one lot, and everything will, the roads and the sublots will be gone.
Does he own it currently? Because it's in like a Rocky Development Company or something name, if I'm not mistaken. Is that Todd?
I believe that's his LLC.
Okay.
And we'll be able to have him here maybe for the public hearing.
Oh, yeah, if you wish, and I'm sure you would have no problem with that. Yeah, and this really, and this end that we're working towards here is really to in essence, in this case, to prove that it is not a public road. There's some discrepancy, and it really helps clear his title up, and it does take the burden off of Munson Township, because if it really was a public road, then they could be compelled to maintain it.
And built.
Which,
yeah, it has to be built before it can be maintained.
Yeah.
It was never
And
built.
built.
Exactly.
Not in 47 years I've been alive.
Right, exactly. So, I can see why the trustees would definitely be concerned about just getting this off the books and clearing it up.
Yeah, I just thought it was rather unusual that the for sale signs are at least two on identified lots. They're flagged. There were surveyors there and cut it up into lots. Then all of a sudden, here we are at this meeting.
Right.
It's like after the fact. I mean, this should have been done before any surveyor went in there to cut it into lots, I would think.
Oh, no, it's been cut into lots since it was created. Those.
Yeah, but today's lots,
Are they different,
as
is what you're saying?
identified, are totally different
Really?
from what the original plat was, yeah.
Well, they haven't been filed because.
Well, I'm just saying the
Right.
markers are there.
I wonder if that's something that they're
Well, this is just going
speculating
to
on
the-
doing.
for
A
the
lot of
hearing.
times
So-
they won't file the
So, yeah,
final
here's-
plat
So
because they
here's
don't
what
want to
we'll do
pay
then, Walter.
taxes on individual lots. They will hold the final plat hearing until they
Yeah.
are really gonna sell them, because if you're a developer and you file a final plat, you're gonna pay for each separate property as if you were gonna build on it.
Mhm.
so it doesn't
Well,
make
there's,
sense.
like I said, there's 4 separate lots identified. And it goes back from the road right on back along other property lines and so
So
forth.
Walter, please, if you could be here that day, go ahead and read number 23, and then we'll have you here for the public hearing. Good questions.
Commissioner's Office is requesting the board acknowledge receipt of a letter from the Munson Township trustees supporting the Board of Commissioners in initiating the process of vacating Sandstone Drive and the alteration of a portion of Y Road TR 107. And the Board of Commissioners further approve and execute resolution number 14-075 of convenience and necessity for the vacation of Sandstone Drive and the alteration of a portion of Y Road TR 107 in Munson Township, and set the public viewing for Tuesday, June 3rd, 2014 at 2:00 p.m. and the public hearing for Tuesday, June 10th, 2014 at 10:15 a.m. Notice of the public viewing and hearing will be advertised on May 15, 2014 and May 22nd, 2014 and on the county website.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved.
Apparently, Blake will not be able to attend.
Yeah,
Or will not be able to
Christie
attend.
has something that we bring from the floor. It's not on the agenda.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board appoint Nick Goris as alternate in the event alternate Joe Cattell cannot attend for Blake A. Rear to the NOACA Planning and Programming meeting on Friday, May 9th, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved.
If I may, just real briefly, you have in your acknowledgements, my annual report from last year. I do encourage you to read it. It shows the diligence that my employees have done
So
this
you
year.
just have
It's been a
one of
good
those?
year. Yeah, this is my, yeah, you should.
Well, there's
You
one
each
for the
have-
office and we each
sent
have
3
one.
Yeah, yeah, we sent
We
4
have
over
one?
here.
I
Yeah,
don't-
it's on your
I-
desk.
It's on your desk.
Okay, I didn't see it.
And certainly, if you have any questions,
Should be.
feel free to call me.
Well, it's on the
Staff's
desk
worked
with
really
all the
hard
rest
here.
of the piles.
Our number of employees is down, yet our work level is
Ah,
at all-time highs, so it's been good.
Good.
Yeah,
Good
appreciate
job.
all your dedication, Joe, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, number 24. Dee, did you want to speak about this?
Well, based on what the board had indicated at a previous meeting, there was a desire to look at the possibility of changing the way that the funding of the youth center operation is handled, and no longer funnel the money through the mental health department. So this resolution was drafted by this office and then sent to Laura. Laura made a few changes, and what you see here in front of you just redirects that. Vicki, did you want to say anything?
No, I'm just here to support whatever.
We just want to make sure they're funded.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the
Yeah.
main thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
You don't want to cut them out of that.
Okay. If we could go ahead and read number 24.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-076 to reallocate youth center funding.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved. And
What do we do with financials?
Heidi for financials.
Because of that motion.
We got now. And that time's over.
You gotta wait that long? Gee.
Yeah, that's for the resolution number.
Did you get a good nap?
Yeah.
No, you don't hear all that information, so we just have the one financial, and it's a supplemental appropriation for the Office of Community and Economic Development to put appropriations in place for the disbursement of funds for the Thompson wastewater treatment. It's their portion of it, and I think they're gonna come in on Tuesday to talk to you about it.
Tuesday, we're gonna do the purchase agreements and all the paperwork for the purchase of the property, and then it will close on the 15th. And then the following September 20th will be the closing on the USDA loan. And so USDA will be coming in, it'll be at the end of the agenda, and it will take a good chunk of time because of all the documents that have to be signed.
And then the only other thing, as far as the financials go, there was you had brought up a concern on one of the supplementals.
Oh, that was held back, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That was
Oh.
canceled. That supplemental was canceled.
That was, yeah, they've contacted, said they're
Changed their mind.
they're rescinding their request for that supplemental.
Okay.
So no longer exists.
Okay, all right.
So we're good.
So if we could read number 25.
The Commissioner's Office is requesting the board approve and execute resolution number 14-077, itemizing the financials for the meeting of May 8, 2014.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved. Thanks, Heidi.
Thank you.
The acknowledgements, we have the monthly financial report from the county building department for the month of April 2014. Weekly report filed by the dog warden. And also we have the 2013 annual report that Joe had spoken about from the engineer's office. And then for our meetings that we've got this coming up, 5/8 is Community Improvement Corporation, the CIC, annual salute to business and industry, 5:30 p.m. at St. Denis. NOACA policy at 9:30 a.m. Planning and programming is at 11 a.m. in Cleveland.
Chairman, there's also an external affairs at 8:30. Didn't put that in there.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And on the 12th, we have the Board of Revisions at 9 a.m. Are you going to be available on that?
We're looking at May 12th.
Monday.
That's this Monday.
Will you be back?
I'll say yes. Oh, yeah, I'll be back.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll say yes.
Okay. The 13th, the commissioners will hold a regular session. The 13th Portage Geauga Juvenile Detention Center Joint Board Meeting, 1:30 p.m. Chambers of Geauga County, so we're doing that meeting here then,
Yes.
okay? On the 13th, we have the Planning Commission meeting has been canceled, surprise, surprise. On the 19th, Family First Council, 2 p.m., Job and Family Services. On the 20th, we have the commissioners will hold a regular session. On the 22nd, commissioners will hold their regular session for their night meeting at 6:30 p.m.
I didn't go any farther than that. There's no session scheduled for the 29th because it's the 5th Thursday of the month, but I didn't know if you wanted to cancel session for the 27th, which was the day after the holiday, so then they would not have session that week, but Dave could approve financials. It's up to you.
So if you wanna cancel the day after Memorial Day, you can do it now, or you can think about it, do it later.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in Washington that weekend, that whole week, so I'm not gonna even be at the night.
So do we want to make a motion for canceling the 27th?
Yeah, I'll make that motion, sure. why
I'll
not?
second.
Commissioner Sweetie?
Aye.
Commissioner Rea?
Aye.
Commissioner Spiller?
Aye, motion stands approved, so we'll cancel then for the 27th. And that would have been a regular daytime meeting.
Correct.
Okay. All right, with that, ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you.